Nice. All right. Hey everyone, how you doing? Thanks for being here today. Even though it's beautiful out, it's a little hot, but I think it's better than snow and being cold, so we'll take it. My name is McCormack. Today we're going to be talking about visiting the national parks, how you can see them, some of the things you can do, just some tips and some tricks along the way. I want to thank Red Bank Public Library for having me, Kirsten, Emily. This is a beautiful view right here.
Yeah.
And I just found out that this library's been here for 100 years.
Yeah.
Wow, it's amazing. Good for you guys. That's really cool. That's really cool. I'm actually fresh off of a camping trip. I was just camping in upstate New York in a place called the Catskills. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before. I was just there for 3 days. I literally drove here from the campsite. I took a shower before, don't worry. But before we get into, everyone at home, hey, what's up? How are you? Thanks for being here. If you got any questions, you can write it in the chat, and I'll answer it at the end. They can't really see you. It's kind of like more.
Okay,
good. But before we get into it, I just want to talk a little bit about myself, just give you some background, who I am, why are we here. So this is what I looked like before I started the travel. I was 20 years old. I was going to Coastal Carolina University in South Carolina, and I wasn't really enjoying my college experience. I kind of just got thrown into the blender like everyone else my age, go to college, pick a career, and just call it a day, right? And my junior year, I just was ready to just make a change and do something different. So before I graduated from Coastal, I studied abroad. I went to Australia for 5 months, and it completely changed my life forever. Australia.
Australia.
And I will never forget actually looking out of the plane. I hadn't even landed yet. Looking out of the plane, I saw the coastline of Australia for the first time. And I said, I have finally found what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I finally know my purpose. I finally know my calling. It was like one of the most liberating moments of my life. So that's one thing I got away from college, right? That's good. So in between this haircut and this haircut, I looked like this for a little bit. Had a little bit of a long hair look there. My dad did not like my long hair at all. Really disliked it. And actually the day I cut my hair, it was one of the happiest days of his life. But it was a cool phase, but I prefer short hair. It's a lot easier to maintain. So for all the women or men out there with long hair, God bless you. I don't know how you do it every day. And I knew that I could turn it into a career somehow. I didn't really know how I was going to do it, but I knew I was going to do it. And so do we have any Yankee fans in here? Anyone like the Yankees? Boo! I really don't like the Yankees at all. I'm a huge Mets fan.
Yeah.
Originally from Brooklyn, New York, so that's why I'm a Mets fan. Deep roots. But the Yankees actually let me do photography for their minor league teams sometimes in AA and AAA. So it's a little bit further away because I'm up in Morris County, the better half of New Jersey. And, is this pork roll land down here?
No. Oh, it is? It's New Jersey.
Oh, okay. No, because it's actually Taylor ham. I don't know if you knew that. But it's actually Taylor ham. But we can leave that for another day. So yeah, I do some of the ways I've been able to maintain this living and make a career. I do photography. I also sell calendars every year. Last year was my 8th published calendar that I've been able to do. People sometimes ask me, is it photos of me? It is not photos of me, it's photos of nature and this really nice world. And I'm a public speaker, so I go to different venues, colleges, universities, libraries, senior centers, corporations, and we always talk about traveling, just that the angle might change a little bit. So for example, in libraries, it's more of like educational, informative, and some storytelling. Whereas if I go to an assisted living or independent living facility, it's more of a storytelling, kind of just exchanging stories. So it's been really cool. And when I go to colleges, universities, it's planting seeds in the kids to go and travel while they can, while they're young, not really have a lot of responsibility, and really see this world. There's a lot out there to see. And also in 2016, I went to Cuba for a month. And when I was there, I had the chance to play baseball with kids. It was the most coolest experience, and with adults as well, because I love baseball. It's my favorite sport. I still play. And when I came back to New Jersey, I actually started a baseball foundation and got a bunch of equipment as donations. And I brought 6 check bags of 50 pounds of baseball equipment, brought it to Cuba, and I just gave it out to people and played baseball with them. It was the most rewarding experience of my entire life. There's actually a full video on my website if you want to look at it. It was so cool to give kids a brand new white baseball, especially for people in Cuba. It's like their favorite sport. So this is the baseball that they were using, and that's a baseball we were able to give them. So we were able to give them over 300 brand new baseballs across the entire island. I flew into Havana and I flew out of a place called Badajoz. It's like on the other, like literally the other side of the island. So it was a really cool experience. And then last year I started a tour company where I bring people to Guatemala. And yeah, so that's how I've been able to maintain this, just give you a little bit of background. But out of all my titles that I have, my favorite title is Uncle Chris. I have 2 nephews and a niece. I love being with them. They are the absolute best. And we actually went to 7 Presidents Beach the other day. You guys know that one? I never heard it before. I never heard it before in my entire life. And it was a cool beach. It was nice. It was perfect for kids. Okay, enough about me. So today we're going to talk about national parks. There's 63 national parks, but there's over 400 national historical sites, monuments. Well, it kind of gets a little technical, but there's only 63 national parks that you can go explore, like, in terms of hiking, camping, stuff like that. It covers about 84 million acres of land, which is a decent amount of land. And another place that we're going to be talking about that not many people know about here in America, maybe you do. If you do, please raise your hand. It's actually, I think I might actually prefer them to the national parks, and that is our national forest. Has anyone ever been to a national forest before? Are they amazing or what? So sometimes people have been to a national forest, but they had no idea that they were there.
Yes, maybe in Texas.
Maybe. Texas is pretty big, so there might be a national forest out there somewhere. But yeah, national forests are just so incredible, and one of the biggest reasons why I prefer them over national parks is because there's no one there. And when I go camping or hiking, no offense, I don't want to see any of you. I have nothing to do with you, it's just me. And also too, like during the summertime, national parks can get really crazy, really, really busy. So today we're going to talk about how you can see both and how you can go, make the most out of both of them. Because you can actually do national forest and national park on the same trip or even the same day. And I'll share that in a little bit. So the biggest question is with this is what's the difference? So national forests are really more about, it's a lot less restrictive than a national park. So a national park, there's no hunting, there's no mining, you can't really go ATVing or quadding or any fishing, stuff like that. Whereas in a national forest, there's actually people logging, running cattle, you can go hunting, there's some mining. You can bring your dog onto a trail. Not many people know that. You can't bring your dog onto a hiking trail in a national park, or at least 90% of them. And there's actually over 150 national forests here in America that cover 190 million acres of land. So it's about 2.5 times more in terms of size than a national park. So we're definitely going to talk about how we do that. So the first one we're going to talk about is Acadia. How many people have been to Acadia in here? Okay, nice. We'll be going to Acadia one day too. Right?
It's got to be a local place.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's good. Acadia is really, if you haven't been there yet, it's definitely worth the trip up 95, even though that's the worst stretch of I-95 that you can be on. It's really cool because not many places where you can be around, a forest, fall foliage, and you can still see a view of the ocean. It's a really cool if you think about it in that perspective. And what's nice is, so the land, the entire national park was donated by millionaires and billionaires about 100 years ago. I believe 1919 was when Acadia was established. It was the first national park established to the east of the Mississippi. So Yellowstone was the first overall, and then Acadia was the second, but the first one on the eastern side of the Mississippi. So if you ever do look at a map of Acadia, you'll look at little pockets of land in Acadia that you can't go and walk through or hike. That's because it's still privately owned. That part of the land is never given up. But the millionaires and billionaires at the time had a great idea. They wanted to connect the national park without using cars and motors, engine oil, kind of disrupting nature, which was a good vision for them. So they established what they call is the horse carriage trail. So anyone ever been on the horse carriage trail when you went to Acadia? You might have been on it, you don't need to be on a horse to go on this. So it's about 60 miles worth of trails. And it's basically like loose gravel. You can ride your bicycle, you can ride your electric bike on it, you can go for a walk, you can go for a run. It's really cool because it is basically all levels of skill and fitness you can do on the horse carriage trails if you don't want to go on a hike. Another thing about Acadia, this place gets so busy in the summertime, like so busy. There's a hike one time I was there and I think it's called the Beehive Trail. And you have to climb up these metal rungs that are welded into the rock. and I was waiting on a line, on a hike, like this, like waiting for my turn. I didn't move for 5 minutes. That's devastating for me. This is why I don't want to see any of you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, you're killing me. I haven't moved in 5 minutes. I feel like I'm on Mount Everest right now. So, again, I understand that, especially for Americans, like our window of vacation is really June, July, August, maybe September. And it's okay to go see national parks. It's just that, try and maybe be as flexible as you can so you can maximize your experience when you go to a national park. When I went to Zion National Park one time, it was in the middle of July, and I saw 2 people getting into a fist fight over a parking spot. And I'm like, aren't we out here to get away from that? You know what I mean? So, just think about that and try to take advantage of the national forest. Okay, next one is Grand Teton National Park. Anyone ever been there? High five. High five. This might be my favorite national park. This place is incredible. Like, seriously, I will never forget driving down the road and seeing the Tetons for the first time. I was like, still driving, like, okay, I'm still driving the car. And it was just mesmerizing. Now, this was in the dead of winter. I wouldn't recommend going there in the wintertime because it's minus 35 degrees Fahrenheit. Unless you like to snowboard or ski, then you're going to be in heaven because it's some of the best snow or powder, as snowboarders would say. I'm not a snowboarder or a skier. So I'm still trying to figure out why I went on a road trip in the northern part of America in January. It doesn't really make sense. But has anyone ever seen actually this composition before? Not because it's my photo, but just, does this look familiar at all to anyone? So this was actually made very famous by a photographer who really had a big hand in establishing national parks. They used a lot of his work to be presented to Congress to say, hey, listen, we really need to save this land. So this composition is basically Snake River Outlook. And this is the Snake River right here. And it goes all the way through Wyoming and Idaho. You can go rafting on it, whatever you want to do. But this composition, this photo, and amongst other photos, was made very famous by a guy named Ansel Adams.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Ansel Adams, right?
I was gonna say, saw it without all those trees.
So it's not exactly the same because his is a little bit more during the summertime, so there's a lot more vegetation and green. But really, his bread and butter was Yosemite. That was like his mega, whoa, this is amazing. How many people have been to Yosemite? Nice, nice, that's awesome. So yeah, this is, like I said, this is a nice, easy photo you can get too. You don't have to go snowshoeing for 4 hours or go do anything treacherous. It's literally you just pull over on a little turnout and there's a little plaque for Ansel Adams. And it's nice, so you don't have to go, you don't have to hike up to here and see it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend going in summer or fall because simply it's just warmer outside and there's no snow actually. And it's not really enjoyable to be outside when it's minus 10 degrees at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You can't go outside for a picnic, you can't go outside for a walk. So unless you're not really a skier or a snowboarder, maybe not go with this one. Oh, I almost forgot because I don't know why I always forget this. For those of you who don't know, because I didn't know the first time I went to Grand Teton. Grand Teton is right here. Yellowstone is right on top of Grand Teton National Park. So you could go to both on the same trip if you wanted to. If you went to Yellowstone, you could pop into Grand Teton, or if you went to Grand Teton, you could pop into Yellowstone. I didn't know that, so I've never been to Yellowstone. But
Yellowstone, have you been there?
yes, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is.
I know.
You go right down the street.
I know.
It's right there.
I know. My fault. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't forget that. Sometimes I forget that.
So which month you suggest?
I think personally, I think September is good because you're starting to get like the fall foliage. It's a little bit cooler during the day, and it's less crowded than fall. Because Grand Teton's like it's really big, way more popular, especially because it's like a tentacle from Yellowstone. I mean, of course, if you can't go outside in the summer months, then you just have to go. It's not that big a deal. It is what it is, right? And you don't want to not go somewhere because there's going to be people there, right? You're in the wrong time of the world right now if you don't want to see people outside. Next, sorry. Do I have to? Oh, okay. Next one, Saguaro National Park. How many people have been to this one?
Where is it in
How many people
Arizona?
how many people have heard of this national park?
I didn't heard of
Okay.
it, but where
It's
is
right
it?
outside Tucson, Arizona.
Okay, I think I
Yeah,
drove through it, yeah.
Yeah, it might have.
When,
So if we can break, if you can just imagine this TV or this screen as Arizona, and you break it into thirds, it's gonna be on Tucson's on the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh.
In the Sonoran Desert, like really close to Mexico. It is a really desert, barren wasteland, but it's so beautiful in its own right. And the reason why I bring these three up is because here in America, we're so lucky to be able to just go take a road trip and see so many different features of nature, so many different pockets and bubbles of our country, whether it's a desert, mountains, or like I said, a forest that's looking at an ocean. I mean, that's, if you really think about it, that's crazy. So, like I just said, even if you have to go during the summer months, make sure you get out there and see these places, because there's a lot of things that are outside of our control that happen. Wildfires, these little tiny bugs that just wipe out hundreds of miles of trees. It's insane. You know, things that are outside of our control. So don't wait around, make the jump. Next, we're gonna talk about, okay, so this is a map of not all the national parks, but some of them. So for those of you who don't know, Acadia is up here in Maine, Shenandoah, and actually the newest national park, hey, how you doing? No, it's okay. The newest national park, or the youngest national park, I should say, it's in West Virginia. It's called New River Gorge. Anyone been there yet?
No, but I've seen it on quarters.
Nice.
You know that?
Yeah. That's cool.
No one looks at quarters. There's so many great ones. Like the Austin Squares and Women and National Park. But no one looks at them,
No, I know, it's a shame. It really is.
other than you and me.
And then, what's it called? Great Smoky Mountains on the border of Tennessee, North Carolina. So today we're gonna talk about Glacier. We're gonna talk about Haleakala National Park. Anyone ever been to that one before? Nice, on the island of Maui.
Maui no Kauai.
So, nice. So, for those of you who don't know where Maui is, it's like over here. A little bit off the map, but it's a really cool national park to go check out. So, speaking of Haleakala, here we are right here. This is from a parking lot on the top, not the top, but some about 8,000 feet elevation, where my cousin and I were about to start a 14-hour hike into the crater. So this photo actually was taken for about 3 hours. And what's cool about astrophotography is you just plug in your settings, you push a button, and you go fall asleep, and the camera does all the work. So that's really nice. So this photo is like 300. This composition is 300 photos stacked on top of each other, and that's how you get like that star trail effect. There's any photographers in here. So the top 5 visited national parks were Acadia, Rocky Mountains, Zion, Grand Canyon. These are in millions. Can anyone guess the #1 visited national park?
Yellowstone?
Yellowstone.
There's actually
Smoky
Great
Mountains.
Smoky.
Smoky Mountains.
Yeah, the Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and it's by a lot. Look at the difference. Look how much more. It's insane.
They're more accessible to, a large number of people.
So there's 2 reasons. That's one of them. If you look at the geography, it's like in the middle of all of these states, right? And then you even sprinkle in some of us tri-staters too, right? That will make it down there. But the #1 reason why Great Smoky Mountains National Park is #1, and it's always #1. It will never change. It's free entry. You don't have to pay to go inside. You have to pay $5 for parking, but $5 to park to go see an amazing national park, worth it. So if it's for free, it's for me, and people practice that. Okay, so when you go visit a national park, there are entrance fees. And I didn't know this when I went to my first national park, which was Zion. And I get to the booth, I'm so excited. And the guy says, all right, $35. I'm like, what do you, $35? To go see nature? I was like, I thought I left New Jersey. What are you doing? This is why I left New Jersey, so I have to stop paying for everything. And so I called a little bit of an attitude, a little bit of the Jersey came out of me. And I paid. And I went on a hike. Has anyone ever been to Zion before? And then out of you two, have you done this hike, Angel's Landing Trail? Okay. So this is the end of Angel's Landing. And when I got to this point, I said, oh, now I get why we have to pay. We're not paying, we're actually supporting the national parks. Because this is just one stretch. And if you can see, that's the road down there. That's how high up I am. So yeah, it's huge pieces of land and $35, which will cover 1 week for one car. It's worth it. It really is. So a lot of the monster national parks, they'll be 35. This is what I was telling you about when I went to Grand Tetons in July. So for those of you who were here in the beginning, remember I was wearing those goggles you don't remember that? Maybe, does anyone remember that? Okay. I was actually standing on this lake in the wintertime. This is Jackson Lake in Grand Teton, and the ice was about 4 feet thick. And this is a massive, massive lake. That's what minus 35 degrees does. And North Rim, the Grand Canyon. How many people have been to the North Rim? How many people have been to the South Rim? Nice. Okay,
West.
cool. West Rim.
On the west.
Nice. Very good. Very good. And Glacier National Park, which might be it's hard between Glacier and Grand Teton for me, because Glacier is just spectacular. For those of you who don't know where Glacier is, it is on basically the border of Montana and Canada. So it's a little bit of a trek to get there, but I promise you, it is so worth it. It's actually going to be the first national park that we dive into today.
I have it with my brother and sister-in-law.
You got it. Oh my God.
And they were in Jaws, we're still on the ground when they came back to the Jaws.
I'm not kidding. Every time I do this presentation and I talk about Glacier, I just get goosebumps because it's just such an amazing place. This is from a hike called Avalanche Lake. And this is a hike that every single person in this room could do. It's not difficult, it's not strenuous, it's not technical, and it's an amazing view. I call it the arena. That's what I named this photo, the arena, because you're just like surrounded by nature. So this is in the middle of July, and you can see these waterfalls or these streams. That's snow still melting from the top of the mountains in July. That's how much snow Glacier National Park gets. It's insane. Okay, but so we want to support national parks, right? Before I say that, so another reason why we have to support national parks is because, for example, Glacier has over 700 miles of hiking trails. That's like walking from here to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. That's in Glacier, right? So there's a hike you can do, it's like a 4-day hike. And if you're on day 3 of that hike, you want to make sure that arrow is pointing in the right direction, right? That's someone's job to go hiking for 3 days to make sure that arrow is pointing in the right direction for you. Because you don't want to get lost in Montana on the 3rd day of your hike when the supplies are running low, morale's probably running low, right? So that's another reason why we have to support. But luckily for us, the national parks actually gave us a break, a little bit of a break, and they created what is called the America the Beautiful Pass. How many people in here have one?
I have a senior one.
That counts, okay, that counts. We gotta get those numbers up for every single person in this room. If you're going to national parks, you've gotta have one of these.
Is the senior 62 or 5 or?
62.
Yes.
You're gonna love this part. So the one that I have, so there's about 5 or 6 different categories, see which one you fall into. The one that I have is called the annual pass. So the annual pass is exactly what it sounds like. It's good for 1 year. And it's $80. You can go to as many national parks as you want for basically as long as you want. And it's cool because it also speeds up your time expedites your time when you're going into the national parks too. You don't have to fill out forms, you just show them the card, your license, and you're in. So it saves you time, saves you money. What's better than that? Also too, for the annual, and this is something that my cousin and I used to do, on the annual, they actually have a slot. They have 2 slots for 2 different names. So my cousin and I used to split, and that we used to split this $40 each. And then I lost it, and he said, I'm never doing this. I was like, damn it, that's my fault. So if you do split it with your sister-in-law, or your brother-in-law, or your cousin, make sure you don't lose it. Next one is the military. So if you're active member, veteran, or Gold Star family, it's a free pass. It kind of gets a little nitty-gritty in the details. You got to do just a little bit of digging just to find out if you have to renew it every year, if you're in for life. And then the next one, this is my favorite one actually, the 4th grade pass. So the National Park Service did a study, and they found that 4th graders was the most optimal age to get kids into nature, into national parks. So when he becomes a 4th grader, you can apply for the 4th grade pass, and you can go to national parks for 1 whole year for free. So
Oh, and they start to absorb it more than.
It's just about putting them.
Where the ice cream's can.
Exactly, yeah, exactly, or where the iPad is, or why the iPad's not charged. So if you have a second grader, a third grader, and a fourth grader, 3 years in a row, you don't have to pay to go to national parks. Good for you, that's some luck for you right there. And then is the senior lifetime pass. So who has the senior lifetime? Nice. So it used to be free. Did you get it for free?
And I had to pay $10.
I think I had to pay $10.
And then they raised it to $10. And then in 2017, they raised it from $10 to $80. So
The Trump administration.
if you are 62 years and older and you want to go to national parks for the rest of your life, you just pay $80 and you never have to pay ever again. You're in. That's it. And even if you lose your card, as long as you know your ID number, they'll just reissue another one, which is pretty cool. And then they have the senior annual. So like, let's say you really don't like nature, like you hate national parks. You're like, I don't even like hiking. I don't like bugs. I don't like why I'm so hot. It's humid. Where's the bar, right? But you're tired of people telling you, I can't believe you've never been to the Grand Canyon. That's crazy, right? And you're like, it's just a hole in the ground, not a big deal. So even if you just got the annual pass, the senior annual pass, it's only $20, and you could still save $15 by getting the annual pass and going to Grand Canyon. So you save money, and you can tell people, okay, stop annoying me. I saw it.
That's one of the 35s too.
What do you mean?
$35,
Oh, yes, it is. Yep.
no matter which room.
No matter which one. Yep. And then they have the access passes for people who are a little bit less fortunate, permanent physical, mental disabilities. They get free access. So if you have a broken arm or broken leg, you don't count.
So the fourth grade pass, is that for the family?
That's for the whole family. That's for a car or a motorhome or however you're traveling through. But it's not for a caravan. So if there's 2 cars, it's only good for 1 car.
All right.
So pack everyone in there. Right?
One car.
Yeah. And also, just so you know, again, you cannot bring your dogs onto the trails in national parks, but you can in national forests. So it's another pro for national forest, or you pet alligator, whatever you have, doesn't matter. And then they have
Are the forests part of this?
we're
Using the pass? No, but I mean, can you use this pass?
the national forests are free.
Oh, they're all
No
free. Oh, okay.
You just show up,
Oh, okay.
which is nice too.
Yeah.
And then they have the volunteer pass, so there are certain organizations that team up with the National Park Service, and on the 250th hour you're volunteering, you get a free pass for 1 year. I think you just better stay to the 8, but that's just me. Okay, so if anyone has anyone not been to a national park? It's okay if you haven't. No one does. Okay, so then everyone knows this is what it looks like. This is what the booth looks like when you enter. So whether you're paying for the first time the entrance fee or you have your national park pass, you're always gonna get one of these, depending on which, obviously, park you go to. This is the most important part of the program. I think the most important part of the program. So if there's anything I want you to take away, it's right now. It doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing, whether you have kids, whether you're in a wheelchair, whatever. The first place you should go to after you get through the booths, you go to the visitor center, and you're gonna take this map, this little brochure, right? And this thing's about to fall apart, so bear with me, I gotta be a little more gentle. And you're gonna go up to a national park ranger, and you're gonna say, "Hi, Janet, how are you? I'm a little bit older. I like the hiking, but I can't do as much as I used to. Can you recommend any hikes?" They're gonna highlight all the places that they think you should do. Not only does it save you time, but you're not gonna be gambling or guessing or throwing a dart at the wall when you only have 2 or 3 days at a national park, right? Also, which is really nice, they can tell you information that you really just can't find on the internet, because these are the people who are hiking for 3 days to make sure that arrow is pointing in the right direction, right? So they can really tell you some hidden gems. And again, it doesn't matter if you're older, younger, more fit, less fit. You could say, "Hi, Janet, I have 3 kids. They don't want to be here at all. Can you recommend a place where I can just tell them to just go somewhere?" And they can say, "Oh, they'll love this place." So make sure you take advantage of your resources. And it's just nice to not be doing something that you're not enjoying when you only have 2 days, because that's the worst when that happens. You're like, "This is terrible. I'm not enjoying it."
Yeah, I have a question about that.
Is there a service that, like, my husband is not an outdoor guy, but I would be very scared to go by myself on a trail. Is there a service that like take you and
You can take me, I'll go hiking with you. That's fine.
That would be nice. So see where you can
So
really
that's-
enjoy those views that you showed us,
So that's
because
a great question. So I will say this, I say this very humbly. This is kind of my job as a photographer, to make this look as remote as possible and make it look as wild and as really hard to get to. It's really not that remote. Like, there's people behind me. Like, it's not like, it's a very beaten down path. You're not in the middle. You're not like Lewis and Clark. This is me just doing good at what I do. Like, this looks like you're in the middle of nowhere, but there's people behind me. There's a mom yelling at their son to look at the Grand Canyon. We drove all the way here from Kansas, kind of thing. So it's not as remote as it looks.
I see.
But that being said, they're called ranger programs. So you go to the visitor center, and you can even look it up online too. And depending on what national park you go to, and they actually organize group hikes. So whether if it's just you and you want to go meet people, or you just want to be with people on a hike, on a trail, or if you have families and you just want to, again, be with people, you don't have to worry about leading, there's someone else leading the group, you can sign up for that and it's free. So, yes.
Or go with a friend that is much younger than you.
Or go with a friend that's much younger than you, yeah, that would work too. But yeah, this is not as remote as it actually looks though. It's not.
It's good to know.
Yeah, it's not that difficult to get here, it's really not. Okay, how are we doing on time? All right. Okay, Glacier National Park, all the way up here. It's worth it, I'm telling you. Sometimes people ask me, I have 2 weeks or I have 10 days, thinking about going to Utah and going about 5 different national parks in 10 days or 12 days. Do you think I should do that? Should I go to Glacier for 10 days or 8? I'm like, go to Glacier, because this place is just insane that it's here in our country. And especially for you guys being at the beach, you're gonna be like, wow, this is crazy. This is from a hike called the Highline Trail. This would not be a hike for you. You would not enjoy this hike. This is really out there. It's
very steep.
Very steep.
Because I can walk.
It's very, you know what though? It's very, sometimes it's very remote. Like, you don't see a person for like 2 hours.
Oh, no.
I don't think you'd like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
I would be scared.
So, well, especially in Glacier, this is grizzly bear country. So you need to have bear spray on you at all times. They say that a spray will stop a 900-pound animal from charging at you. I've never had the opportunity to try that, luckily. But yeah, like when you're walking on this trail, there could easily be a grizzly bear right around the corner, or a bighorn ram, or sheep, whatever. You're really out there.
Bighorn rams are aggressive sometimes.
They could be. They could be. For whatever reason. I mean, I don't know. So this is from, again, this looks like it's in the middle of nowhere, right? Like, there's a family of gophers out there right now. That's funny. That's like the mascot here, I think, right? Yeah. The Red Band Gophers. So to calibrate you where we are right now, I'm taking a photo this way, and this is in Glacier National Park at a place called Apgar Village. So I'm taking a photo. Behind me, literally like a baseball throw away, there's motels, restaurants, picnic areas, kids having a catch with a football, kids being dragged on a wagon, people riding bikes. Like, it's really not that remote looking. So this is a insane view to have. And we're gonna talk about how you can get some of the lodging inside national parks if you want to. You can actually hike up to this point right here if you wanted to, all the way up there. That's called Grinnell Glacier. So to keep you calibrated, this next photo, I'm literally looking in the same direction. And the next photo is a photo of Grinnell Glacier, which is not easy to get to. I will say it's basically a side trail off of the Highline Trail, and it's about a 2,000-foot elevation gain in a matter of like half a mile, which is insane. It's just straight up, and you're battling the wind, and you're battling your footing. So this is a glacier right here, and this is actually the color of the water. That's not saturated or photoshopped or Lightroom, if anyone's familiar with that.
Battling wind even in summer. Probably
So sorry to interrupt.
Oh,
someone parked where someone can't get out. Anyone on a blue car that has a license plate R's and Rabbit 91? Or how about a Jeep, blue or black in color, that starts with WBL? You need to move your car if either one of those. No? Okay, thanks so much.
No, don't worry about
Sorry.
it. That's okay, no worries. I was like, oh man, I'm being too loud, whoops. So yeah, this is Grinnell Glacier, and this was taken during the summer. This is in July.
Yeah, it looks like.
This is in July.
That's
So-
remarkable that there's still snow melt.
Yeah, no, it's insane. My Glacier, the national park's only open for about 4 months of the year. That's how much, it's 4 or 5 months, depends on how much snow they get and how fast it melts. So they don't, like June 1st, they were still clearing the road for the national park. A lot of snow. Okay, and then this next photo, I turned back around and now I'm facing Apgar Village, where all the restaurants and the hotels are. And this is when I felt like Lewis and Clark. I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane to be on this hiking trail right now. So the Apgar Village is all the way at the end of this lake, all the way over there. Crazy.
What's the name of the lake?
Lake McDonald in Apgar Village. And Apgar was some guy in like the 1800s, he went there to try and go farming. And he realized, he's like, farming is not really very lucrative here. So he actually started like tourism in this part of Montana.
Wow.
His last name is Apgar.
Farming doesn't seem like a great.
APGAR, yep. The more you know. And then, you know, when you're on a hiking trail, in general, you should always be very aware of what you're doing. But when you're on this one, you really gotta practice safe selfieing, okay? Because it really could be the last one that you take. And you don't want them to find your phone and you're like that. But also too, seriously, like, you know, when you're on a hiking trail, especially in Glacier, you don't want to wear headphones or anything. You really need to be aware of your surroundings because, again, there could be a grizzly bear around this corner. You have no idea. You have no idea. And this is just how much snow is still there in July. Not even being protected, not in the shade at all. That's how much snow they get. Next place is we are going to talk about is Haleakala. Like I said, it's all the way down here. Over here, we're going to have to speed this one up just a little bit. This is sunrise. So we did about a 14-hour hike into the crater of a volcano. That's what Haleakala is, a volcano. And Haleakala actually stands, it's Hawaiian for House of the Sun. So I wore a short sleeve t-shirt and I didn't bring sunscreen or a hat to the House of the Sun. And I'm Irish, so do the math on that one. Actually, you can see the damage in that photo over there at the end if you want to. So we go down into the crater, and we're like walking these trails, go over this, and then eventually all the way up. It's amazing how many little bubbles could be inside of a volcano crater. Like it's insane how big this thing is. That's my cousin. doing dirt angels. He's alive. He's a reptile. He likes warm rocks and warm dirt. I don't know why. But at this point, we had about 6 hours left on our hike. And this is a endemic plant. So that means that it can only be found in this certain area or in a particular area. So for this example, this is called silver sword, and it can only be found on a volcano in Hawaii. That's it. Silver sword. And they can grow as tall as 6 feet, or 1 foot, 2 foot, and then they die. They don't regenerate, so they have one lifespan. And they're everywhere there. It's really cool. And then this is the final ascent to the visitor center, but we actually started on the wrong side. You're supposed to start on this side and end where we started, because you see what we had to walk up right there? And the name of that trail is called Sliding Sands. That's because it's a sliding sand the entire time. So every step we would take, we'd fall back down half a step. So it was pure exhaustion and burned to a crisp by the end, and definitely dehydrated. Next one that we're just gonna go through very quickly is Crater Lake. It's in the bottom third of Oregon. It is such a beautiful place to go see, especially during the winter. It can be a little bit more dangerous in the wintertime though. We'll talk about that in a second. So this actually used to be a volcano in itself. And 9,000 years ago, it was a massive eruption and it blew the dome off the volcano. So if you think about it in geological terms, 9,000 years, that's like 2 days ago. Yeah, that's like yesterday. And now it's actually the deepest lake in the United States. I don't know how deep it is though, sorry. And it's cool because during the summertime or spring, you can walk around the entire rim of the crater if you wanted to. And also, so like I just said, going to this national park is a little bit dangerous in the wintertime because they get about 40 to 60 feet of snow every winter. And sometimes people are walking on snow that they think is terra firma, but it's not. Like this guy right here, who's eye level with a tree. All right, I got pretty lucky there. Is that crazy? That could have just gave out if it really wanted to. So make sure you go in the summer or fall so that you can actually see the rock. I'm eye level with the tree. And that's not very common for me. I'm a pretty short person, so I wasn't used to that. You know what I mean? I was like, whoa, I'm a giant. But it was cool during the winter time because I had the whole place to myself. But that was the part of the trip where I was like, yeah, it's -5 degrees. I've been cold for about a month. It's time to go back to New Jersey. I'm good. And then I drove back across America. So
What month was that?
January of 2022. Yeah. Anyone ever see this national park before? I'm just kidding. This is where I live in Morris County, New Jersey.
Are you there or Lake Mohawk?
Oh, I love Lake Mohawk. Lake Mohawk is so special. It's a special place. Yeah, I just love showing people where I live. The geese are very controversial. I won't get into it now, but so I just want to talk a little bit about some resources. Quickly though, Custer, South Dakota, put it on your list if you've never been there yet. It is such a cool place. It's where Mount Rushmore is, but there are so many more things to do outside of that. Custer, South Dakota, trust me.
Crazy Horse.
Crazy Horse, yep. Crazy Horse Memorial, which is basically the Native American version of Mount Rushmore that has been being worked on for about 100 years maybe, or 80
It's
years.
just depressing when you realize not only will we not live to see it, I'm not sure.
No, yeah, you probably won't. You probably won't. You probably won't. And just so you guys know, all the resources I talk about, I'm not paid or sponsored. I actually use these. I really, really believe in them. One of them is called Gas Buddy. Anyone ever heard of it before? Nice. Okay, cool. So Gas Buddy is really helpful because when you're in a place that you're not familiar with, especially on a road trip, you share your location and it will tell you all of the cheapest gas that's in that area. Because sometimes you could be driving and it's like you get really nervous about gas and it's the first gas station you see is like $4 a gallon and then you drive down the road 20 seconds later and it's like $2 a gallon. Right? That's the worst might happen. So Gas Buddy.
2 hours.
So it's
Yeah.
an app?
Yeah, it's an app and a website. And what's really cool too is that they have more features. They do a trip cost calculator. So you can type in where you're from, where you're going in your car, and it'll tell you all of the green arrows are all the best gas stations you should stop at, and how much it'll cost in gas for your trip, which is kind of cool. I mean, I think it's a little bit of a guesstimate because they don't know if you're, carrying a camper or an Airstreamer or the kids, whatever, so. So that being said, I understand, that we want to get to places as fast as possible. That's great. We really practice that here in New Jersey for sure, because we're in that rat race mentality. But when you're going on a vacation or a road trip, really take the time to go see the scenic byways and highways of America. They are like so amazing to see some of these little pockets of America.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like they're just so incredible. Some of them are as short as a mile. Some of them are as long as 150 miles, right? So this is an example of a scenic highway that I saw in Arizona. I never even knew this existed on this planet. So can you imagine my reaction when I was driving over the hill and I saw this for the first time? I parked here for 30 minutes. I didn't see a car for 3 hours. It was
I had a
amazing.
taste of that in New Mexico, Santa Fe.
Oh,
like
nice.
the scenery.
Yeah.
The roads where you don't like in the movies.
Exactly. It is so amazing. This is the Vermilion Cliffs here in Arizona. So this is what some of the signs look like too. They're so inviting. They're very curious. You just see a random sign and you're like, I wonder what's down there. Maine, Texas. So in New Jersey, we have 8 scenic byways. One of the more famous ones, and not because it's in North Jersey, but is the Palisades Scenic Byway.
Yes, I'm familiar with that.
That is such a beautiful drive
Loopholes.
during peak foliage or when the summer and the trees are so full and so green. So if you think about somebody from Arizona or Nebraska driving the Palisades Scenic Byway,
Like cliffs too.
yeah, exactly, right? Whereas it was the same reaction for me driving on this. Because it's like something so different and it's off the major interstate. you had to, it takes more time to see some of the more beautiful things. You gotta dig a little bit deeper nowadays to see it. Okay, and we're gonna run through this very quickly. Our national forest. After this slide particularly, I have literally no other secrets to hold from you, because this is my favorite campsite in the entire world, right here. It's at a place called the Mogollon Rim, and it's part of Coconino National Forest. So I was living in Phoenix, Arizona at the time, and this is about 80 miles north of Phoenix, in a place called Payson, Arizona. This looks like a national park. It probably could be a national park, but it's a national forest. And what's really nice is this campsite was free. I didn't have to reserve it. I didn't have to ask anybody. Now, I will say this though, there were no
Internet.
which is good. There was no facilities, bathrooms, or showers on site. But if you have an Airstreamer or a motorhome, there's so much space. I actually saw a guy look like he was going on tour, a music tour. That's how big his bus was. It looked like a Greyhound. And so you could stay in a spot in a national forest for up to 2 weeks. So I talked to the guy, I'm like, hey, how long have you been here? Because it looked like he was really settled down. He goes, well, I used to stay here at campsite A for 2 weeks, and then I moved over to campsite B for 2 weeks. And I just kept doing that back and forth. And then eventually the guy who comes around whenever to see it or to check, he would ask him, he'd be like, hey Bob, can I just stay here? And the guy's like, yeah, I don't care. He had this whole little peninsula on the cliff to himself.
Nice.
For free. For free. It was amazing. 10 minutes down the road, they had a dump station, a water station, bathroom, showers. Living the dream out there,
That'd be a ranger, obviously, checking on things.
Excuse me?
That'd be a ranger.
Yeah, so it's somebody from the National Forest. Yep.
Rangers are in national forest as well as national.
Yes, 100%. So it's a little bit difficult to see, but that's actually my campsite up here. And I had this whole view to not to myself, because I was sharing it with the guy on the tour, but, and this is the Mogollon Rim. It's like a plateau that runs for 400 miles east and west. And if you just kept going west, you would actually end up in Sedona, Arizona eventually.
I was gonna say Sedona's right.
Yes,
Sort of on the
exactly. So, free campsite, whole place to myself, just absolutely incredible. Now think about this for a second. This is a lake on top of a ridge, a mountain like this. It's insane. I think Arizona is probably one of our coolest states though. I really do. I really, really do. Again, you're in a hike, you're in nature by yourself, you haven't seen a soul in 3 days. You bring your dog, it's really nice. And this is the best nap I ever took in my life right here. If you can just imagine that perfect temperature of breeze coming up the cliff, it was incredible. And so when I left my Phoenix apartment, it was 110 degrees. I drove 90 minutes north. When the sun set, I was around my fire, underneath the galaxy. I looked at my thermometer, it said 30 degrees Fahrenheit. 90 minutes north. That's the power of elevation right there. It was insane. So this is the website that you would use to go researching about national forests if you're gonna go check it out. This is the homepage. Now I do caution you, when you go here, you should know what national forest you are looking for. Because when you click on this, select the forest, when you click on that, this is what comes up. That means all that is so irrelevant. I don't know where that is. I don't know what that is. I really don't. So it can be very overwhelming. But when you do find your national forest, and we're gonna stick with Coconino, it's cool because it tells you all of the wildfire danger, winter road closures. That'd be a bummer if you wanted to go camp there and it's closed because they don't maintain the road during the winter. Special places you can visit in the area. And these are all very specific to every single national forest. That's how deep that rabbit hole goes. Be prepared, and the 2 worst words you ever want to hear when it comes to hiking, nature, or camping is passes and permits. Those are the worst. We're gonna talk about that more in a little bit. Campendium, this is the website/app that you would use to find not only free camping, but campgrounds, RV parks, trailer parks. In this example, we're gonna use, so this is an example. It's 5 minutes down the road from Badlands National Park. I just showed up, it was there. It's not illegal because it's actually public land. It's managed by the Bureau of Land Management. So our federal tax dollars go towards maintaining this public land. So it is your land, but you're not breaking any rules. You're not squatting, you're not loitering, don't worry, just clean up after yourself. And I had this entire place to myself. Now, this looks a little bit more remote than it does, but I would say about maybe 200 yards was the road. And obviously, it's not that hard to get to because I have an 03 Camry.
But you were allowed to go there with the car?
Yeah, people bring motorhomes out here and Airstreams. It's amazing. It's really cool. And there's enough, I mean, that's like pretty close to the cliff. Probably wouldn't want to park that close. Like behind me, it's a lot more flat and a lot more space for people to go there.
But the cars, they pollute. Do they have to be there or?
What do you mean?
I mean, it shouldn't be a structure that people can access walking as opposed to being there with the car individually? Because the article that I read on National Park Magazine was saying just that.
You could walk
You
there.
have no other way to go with the car because there's no other facility. If you walk, you don't pollute, you
Right.
know. Like in Alaska, when you go in Alaska, I've never been, but you're not allowed to even chew gum, like you have to leave everything behind. You
Right.
can't go,
You don't,
so on a beautiful night like that, go with the car some close.
you don't have to. If you wanted to, you could park on the road and you could walk in if you wanted to. If you wanted to. But keep in mind though, there are people maintaining this road, this area. It's not like it's just abandoned. You know what I mean? So people do come out there once a week. I don't know how frequent, but there are people that are maintaining and making sure that it's not being
Abused
destroyed.
or.
Right. So, but I see your point. I see your
It's not
point.
pollutes.
Yeah, no, for sure, 100%, 100%.
To drive out there,
So again, it's not like, it's kind of like a dirt trail to get out there already. Yeah, there's no way around it, it's definitely polluted. But yeah, so I agree with you on that. So this is another example too, where you could take advantage of national forests because so I'm looking at Grand Teton National Park, but my campsite is in a national forest. It's called Bridger Teton National Forest. I don't know what the next town over is from Red Bank, but it's basically exactly like that. So when you go to Grand Teton, or if you've been there, you've definitely driven through Bridger Teton National Forest. It might not be as well signed or marked like the rest of them. And again, it's a free campsite. And it was really cool because Grand Teton's really hard to get accommodation there, whether it's a motel, hotel, or a campground inside the national park. So it was nice to be able to just show up and have a place to stay. So you type in where do you want to camp. And so in this example, we're going to use New Mexico because I went there in October to get a photo of a solar eclipse. And so for this example, New Mexico, a whole heat map of the state shows up. And you would just click where you want to go or where you want to be. And those are all the places you can go if you wanted to. So like I said, some of them are free, some of them are actual legit campgrounds. The green ones are campgrounds, the blue ones are RV parks, and the purple peas that's like really in case of emergency. That's like a Walmart parking lot, because you can park there overnight if you had to. So I stayed here, you're gonna click on that, and we're just gonna jump. People leave comments and reviews about the site. So the number one thing, especially for me, because I don't have a 4x4 car or high clearance, is the access. So you wanna have as high as possible if you don't have a good car to get through it. Or if you have a motorhome or whatever, because you kind of sometimes look at those huge ruts, or it's very muddy from the rain, whatever the case may be. And then the noise. You want to make sure there's 5 stars, because that means there's less man-made noise, which is really nice. So I used all that, and I got this photo of the solar eclipse or composition, and I was able to get that by using that app. And it was that one was actually a little bit more of an established campground. They actually have like campsites and everything. Yeah, it was really cool. Okay, so recreation.gov is going to be the website you're going to use if you want to stay inside a national park, whether it's a motel or a campground. Just know 2 things. Number 1, it's the worst website you'll ever use because it's not user-friendly whatsoever. And number 2, most national parks, like the big ones, they open up their availability for campgrounds or motels like 5 months in advance. So today is June 20th. There'll be somebody on their computer tonight at 11:59 p.m. to book their accommodation, their motel, their campground for November 21st at Zion National Park or at wherever national park. So if you're looking for anything this summer, it's gone. That being said, if you can get it while it's available, remember I mentioned Abgar Village before in Glacier National Park? The motel rooms, they say they're hotels, but they're really more like a 2-star motel, 3-star motel. They go for about $900 a night.
Oh,
Yeah.
Almost there.
And they do that because they have all the leverage. Remember, it's only open for 4 or 5 months. Millions of people are coming here. So,
demand.
That's just crazy.
yeah, business 101, economics, right? So, that's why I don't really use, even if I were to stay at a motel, I never use the website. I don't even waste my time.
So you're staying in camping?
Excuse me?
Were you staying in camping?
Yeah, I usually can, but I mean, I'll get like a hotel or something for a night or two just to kind of recharge, take a shower, sleep in
Away
bed.
from the,
Yeah, it might be like 20 minutes away, 30 minutes away. That's the thing though, so the closer you get to the national parks, the more, or the less availability and the higher price it will be, because there will be people who pay. So maybe they can't afford 900 a night, but they can afford 500 a night. So it's sometimes you have to get further and further and further away. And then this next one, Skyscanner. I like this app so much and website because it's the best app to find cheapest airfare. The first time I went to Guatemala, actually the only reason I went to Guatemala was because I found a flight for $79. And it's really cool because you can type in the date that you're traveling from New York and then to everywhere. Like everywhere in the world, everywhere in America you can travel to on that date that you're looking for. So it would be an understatement to say that I look at this app every day of my life. I look at it every day of my life. I really, really do. So this summer I'm going to Asia for 2 months. I found a flight to Mongolia for $500. Is that amazing? One way. So I have a connection in South Korea and then I go to, yeah, for $500. That's not bad.
Reserve a yurt?
Not yet, I'm just gonna show up. And then if you wanted to do train travel in America, I love trains. I wish I could be able to afford the budget of train travel in America. You can see some national parks through trains. Just know that you're not gonna get off of the train and be at the base of the mountain. You might have to do a little bit more work after that. And then if there's anyone in here who doesn't like to camp, but you don't want to stay at a hotel and you're really more of like a glamper, which is fine, no judgment, it's all good. They have a website for you, it's called Glamping Hub. And it's cool because you can type in where you want to go and the dates, and then it will show you all the glamping. So this is not like an Airbnb thing. Like you really are out in the wilderness. So we're gonna use this example. This was $500 a night for this place. This is your bed. Now here's the thing, whether you're camping, glamping or camping, whatever, the mosquitoes are still gonna get you. So just keep that in mind. You don't wanna pay too much to get eaten alive by mosquitoes. But the views are really cool. So it's definitely, whatever you have to do to go travel, go do it. I don't judge people about whatever they wanna do. And then, so this is the website that I would use to find accommodation if I wasn't camping on a trip. It's called booking.com. Maybe you've heard of it before. This is an example from Zion. This is like a hotel, I don't want to say a resort, but like area. And it was cool because at the time, this was like maybe 2 months ago when I put this in here, there was still availability for this summer. And this was only about $200 a night. But it's about 40 minutes from the entrance of Zion National Park. So there's giving and taking for sure. And then just real quick in closing, I just want to talk about one more thing. So I think it's really important. This is from Acadia National Park, Cadillac Mountain. Anyone ever been to Cadillac Mountain when they went to Acadia? Okay, so for sunset, sunrise, you might have seen it. You cannot go to Cadillac Mountain anymore unless you have a pass or a permit.
Wow.
You can't just go up there and drive. We were kind of talking about this a little bit in the beginning. Unruly behavior, too many people, trash, litter, people running across the road, almost getting hit by cars. So it'd be a bummer if you went to Acadia and you wanted to do Cadillac Mountain, you didn't have a pass or a permit, or any national park, right? So you want to use Facebook. People use it as a social media. I actually encourage you to use it as a search engine. So if you can think of any topic in your head right now, anything. There is a Facebook group of people talking about that topic that you just thought of. So what you want to do is you want to go into Facebook groups and you just type in U.S. National Parks travel, or if you're going to Colombia, travel to Colombia, wherever you're going to, and groups will come up. So this last one right here has 250,000 people in this group. So you might want to, use your resources and shoot a question in there and say, hey, I'm going to Acadia National Park in a month. Is there anything I should know? Do I need a pass or permit for anything? Hey, I'm going to Bryce Canyon this summer. Do I need a pass or permit for anything? Because it's way more up to date, and there's people posting 10 times a day on this group. So if you can withstand that, looking at that until you go on your trip, I think it's worth it. So that being said, I want to thank you guys so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed the presentation tonight. Make sure you grab a national park sticker. That's actually courtesy of this amazing library. So definitely, take one of those. And thank you for giving me the platform to do what I love. I love what I do. I love talking about traveling. I love sharing my experiences and trying to help people get out there. If you have any questions, I'll hang out up here. I'm gonna check out the chat box too, see if anyone has any questions in there. But if not, do you have any announcements or anything you want to say?